Valorant's Game Changers division has grown pretty significantly since its inception to empower and give every woman and marginalized gendered people out there who love Valorant a chance to make it as a pro player one day and compete amongst the best on the planet. It's something that's constantly been gaining traction year after year across the globe, but I'm here to talk about the South Asia region specifically. Now, we know that while everyone who loves Valorant knows all the big names, there's a significant portion of the people who love the esport who aren't actually fully aware that there's a women's division of the sport as well. Yes, and it's actually true because I've heard that from people I spoke to who are going to be coming up in this video. I was going through the Game Changers matches a couple of days ago and I noticed that statistically, the Indian Valorant Game Changers teams, that is Orangutan and Global Esports in the recent past, have been a lot more successful than the men's teams have been in the last 3 years internationally. To give you a little insight into the matter, Orangutan and GE have been placing in the top 6 of the APAC Game Changers for this entire year across Open 1, 2 and 3, where Orangutan placed second in Open 1. This is irrefutable proof that our women are doing really great on the international end. Maybe just 2 years or 3 years or even maybe just the next year, we could see one of our women's teams at the Game Changers Championship, which is absolutely humongous and absolutely possible for our region because that's the closest we are technically right now to be able to get a chance to fight for an international trophy in Valorant. The biggest problems though are also faced by the same Game Changers teams. And to talk about these, I gathered some of the best women players from our region and wanted to talk to them about their perspective, their views and a message that they'd like to give to everyone who loves and watches Valorant. Oh, also Lord Batura. First up, India's first female Radiant, Casper. I spoke to her about what she thinks is the biggest problem right now for the teams playing in Game Changers, and this is what she had to say.
I feel there are very less tournaments. Like, obviously, there are less for guys also, as well as for girls. Like, there's no women tournaments except of FSL, and even in guys, there's only off season and the main tournament. So yeah, I think that's what we are lacking for now. Like, there are orgs, there are teams, but we don't have enough tournaments to play.
She also spoke about the backing and support that is currently present that could maybe change things.
Like, I don't think many people are aware about women's playing Valorant. They are not even aware. Like, us playing tournaments is a different thing. They don't even know that women play Valorant, and they're like, you're a girl, how can a girl play Valorant? They're like that. So yeah, like, obviously we lack a lot of support. Like, only few orgs which are like Global, Orangutan, only the followers who are there, they know we play, they support us, but there's no outside support from anyone. So yeah, we kind of lack that.
I also spoke to Meow16k, one of India's OG female gamers, who gives us her summary about how Valorant has grown for women in the last 2 years but needs a lot more.
Valorant has been growing gradually, eventually, and in a very upwards. I mean, in 2021, I thought Valorant. When did Valorant launch? 2020, yeah. So in 2020, I remember FSL was not engaged with the VCT, like the main Riot events. So back then, the teams that participated in only female sections were very less. I think from an entire SCA region, there were only 20 teams, barely 20 teams. But then each year the teams have been growing, and I think this year in 2023 there were 70 teams who participated from SCA, which is like a big number, and out of which India managed to two Indian teams, namely Orangutan and Global Esports. We managed to bag our places in the top 6 teams throughout SCA. So I think the skill set has been growing, and along with that, number of gamers, female gamers emerging are also growing.
She also mentions that there are quite a few female gamers out there, but there are also a whole lot of them that don't really want to enter esports.
I think the major issue is that there are not much female gamers. I mean, there are female gamers, but they don't want to be professional athletes. So that's the main reason. So the goal of global esports altogether while building the GC roster was itself that they want to build an Indian Valorant female roster. 5 women being Indian resident, and playing as a team on an international stage. That's what their goal was. लड़कियों का कैसा है कि ठीक है गेम टाइम पास के लिए खेल रहा है, but in a long run they don't want to see themselves being a professional athlete or a content creator or such. So I think that's one reason why a female GC specifically is not much appreciated in our region, although it should be. So अगर और लड़कियां पार्टिसिपेट करती है, if the skill set keeps growing, if there are more tournaments within India for women are held, that's when people will actually come to know about all these female rosters as well. Because अभी देखा जाए तो इंडिया के पास only there are 2 female rosters, एक orangutan and GE, and even in that orangutan में I think only one Indian player is left, right? जितने लड़कियां और अच्छा खेलेंगे, they want to be a professional athlete, उतना ही ज़्यादा इंडिया को ही exposure मिलने वाला है, and more tournaments coming in India will eventually be like a big support system.
I spoke also to my good friend Lord Bathura, who's been an advocate and probably the biggest supporter of Game Changers Valorant from India since its first few days itself.
Game Changers has brought more glory to Indian Valorant with comparative to the statistics and performances that we compare it to the men's Valorant league. And I personally started supporting them when Meow 16K was a really close friend of mine from the CSGO days, and I came to know that she's going to start competing in a team called Asteria, and that's when I got really close to Muffin Loop, Casper, Shreya. So these 4 people, I used to hang out with them 24/7. They were like my go-to people back in the day. When I came to know that these girls were performing, even I wasn't aware that there's some tournament like this, but these girls were playing under Asteria. 4 of these girls, along with Britsi from Pakistan. So when they were there, I was pretty much big in terms of my interest. My interest was huge in the Valorant scene, me being a part of VLT. That's when I started watch partying their games. And I was the first, I think I was the first or one amongst the few who started bringing light on that. Even I didn't know at that point. When I started watch partying, there's a lot of people and they got a lot of reach, they got a lot of engagement. That's how VLT Asteria happened. For people who don't know, so Anna was watching one of my watch parties and Asteria played insanely well. Anna is like, okay, let's sign them. I'm like, hello Anna, what's up? Anna is like, yeah bro, bring them under the VLT tag, and that happened. And since then, it's always been there. And I'm rolling because I had too much food in lunch case. I'm back home in Chennai. Too much dal I had. I'm rolling, bro. I'm sorry, I can't help that case. You'll have to bear it. So that's when I started supporting them, and it's been an upward climb since then, bro. I mean, I still deep down wish that my super team any day would be Muffin Loop, Meow 16K, Casper, Sway, and Shreya if she can get back to playing in our region. Bro, with this team, put me with this team, give me this team in 1 year if you don't have an international trophy home, bro. I swear, it's like this, bro. The strongest lineup ever, dude.
He also talks about how fans have been fed up in the recent past, but this could all turn if they give a little bit more support to the Game Changers teams because of how close they are to an international trophy.
Correct. So the thing is, with how fans are regarding the game Valorant or any other esports in general, we Indians are very warm-blooded. The amount of love we show is very, very correlevant to the amount of not love that we show. I don't want to use the word hate. That is because they've just fed up. They've been supporting them. They want them to achieve big, but they're not able to. But there's also a lot of external factors that come into place when taking it like this. But I think Indian audience should start showing the most love right now to the women Valorant, which is happening, which is the Game Changers, because they are the closest chance to get India an international trophy. If you talk about the men's section, SK Rossi and Lightning Fast were the closest we had for getting us Indian trophies, and after them, I think that it's pretty much the closest shot we have is the Game Changers team we have right now, aka the Orangutan and the Global Esports Phoenix. And Orangutan right now, the way I see both the teams play, even though I support GE Phoenix because most of my friends are there. I mean, Casper is also a close one, but Orangutan has a very, very higher chance of actually putting it down there and making it possible for all of us.
He also gave me a pretty solid statement about limited opportunities and minimal chances, which is extremely true in the current state of women's teams.
So there are multiple reasons on why this could be possible, because let's say the men can get into a team much easier than a woman can. It's facts. A guy who plays 80%, let's say a guy like SK Rossi, if he was a guy with the same amount of skill, he would get into a team easier because the opportunities are so vast. But let's say if SK Rossi was a female, I'm taking SK Rossi because he's right now the biggest name that we have in Valorant, in Indian Valorant. If he was a female, the amount of opportunities that he have would be limited so much. And because of so much of limited opportunities, the girls, when they play in with their heart out, because if they lose one opportunity, there is no second chances. Because the way I see it, there's a very, very narrow path. And I'm glad that people are expanding nowadays and trying to get into it. But I think Asteria, even before they got a team, I think they played for 8 months or something, only out of great passion. I mean, I don't want to quote saying women are more passionate towards the game than men. Obviously, that's not the scenario. But I think the way I see it is because they can't afford to take a chance at all. Chances are very minimalistic. What happened to my English, bro? Sorry. Chances are very minimal compared to that, and I think that drives them even more. I mean, personally, when I see how they play, I used to play along with Asteria a lot. I used to help them as I wouldn't call myself a mentor, but I used to be the big guy for them. Big, as in this big only, not any other big. So during that time also, the amount of passion that these girls showed, because yeah, that's the one liner, bro. Chances are very minimal and you can't mess up. You getting a second chance is very hard if you're in the female side of things.
Finally, I had the good fortune of talking to Sway, one of the most talented female players of South Asia, who talks about why Game Changers is so important for all female players out there.
When it comes to mixed teams, like co-ed, it's not easy for women to make a mark, even right now, even currently at this point of time. It's pretty tough for women to become a part of a male team, to prove themselves, really get in there. But that's where the female scene comes to play. It provides opportunities for women which they usually wouldn't get, and Game Changers is a huge opportunity for any girl out there who's trying to prove herself, who's trying to become a professional esports athlete. It's really doing a lot for the female scene.
She also tells about how the support from the fans is something that the teams need a lot at this point, because they are a lot closer to competing at the international stage than the men's teams and just need that one small push.
It is very important to get the recognition and support that we deserve, because we are out here creating a mark on the scene internationally, which even the male teams are doing. But comparatively, I'd say we are more closer to actually getting a spot in the international league. So I feel that we should get the recognition we deserve.
Sway talks to viewers directly and tells about how the support is empowering them, and talks about the awareness of the Game Changers scene as well.
I'd say that when you watch the female athletes perform internationally and everything, you are actually empowering them. You are giving them the motivation to do better, to do further well. And I feel like if you give that support that you give to male teams to the female teams, we'll do even better than we are doing right now. And although we're already doing very well, I think recognition and support from the fans is needed. Like yeah right now I feel like although we're achieving a lot and we're doing whatnot, we don't have, like, the scene isn't that popular. People are not even aware about game changes. Like, people be like, we didn't know this scene existed, we didn't know there was a female scene. And people are also very confused about why there's a separate league for women. So I feel like even like getting knowledge about these things is very important. I think there should be um, people should create awareness about this scene, like women's league.
She gives a direct, heartfelt message to all the female gamers out there to just give it a try. Start somewhere. You never know what could follow.
I think like whoever's like aspiring to play, they should know that every, let's say Casper, let's talk about myself. We've all been in your spot, and you have to start somewhere. Just make your own team, find players. It could be your friends, it could be anyone. Just start, make a team, go for it. Even if you start with a male team, you'll at least get to improve. So just start. Don't overthink the situation. Don't be like, oh, but like not many people know me, I won't be able to like prove myself or whatever. Just go for it, just start. If you start somewhere, you are going to improve. There's no going down. So at least start.
Now brings back the same point of awareness with an example of something she's seen happening with the audience and how important their support is.
And yes, public support plays very important role. कि कहीं ना कहीं confident boost मिल जाता है उसमें कि हाँ चलो, people believe in us, that means they have seen something in us and they know that for some reason we are better. तो वो public support तो definitely we need it. And in order to like, अभी देखा भी था कि GC के जितने भी watch parties है, they were pretty less. तो वो watch parties and all भी अगर और लोग अगर इंटरेस्ट ले इसमें करने में कि yeah, we want to actively do a watch party of GC specifically of all the games, then maybe the awareness, maybe most of the people don't even know कि यहाँ पे GC ऐसा कुछ चलता भी है. Like I have seen comments on the GC games, जब भी GE versus कोई XYZ team होती है, comment section में लोग पूछते हैं literally कि where is Rossi? Like नहीं, रॉसी नहीं मिलेगा यहाँ पे. दिस इज जीसी, दिस इज गेम चेंजर्स. तो ये अवेयरनेस की भी बात होती है. इवन दो like you know, organizations are trying hard to push their female rosters through their social medias, but I think it's somehow the other way, influencers and the you know, casual gamers, they should be talking about GC as well, as much as they talk about the franchise teams or the off seasons. GC की बहुत कम बातें होती है, discussions होती है in general. So I think if we keep talking about that more, awareness उतना ही बढ़ेगा and more people come and involve and show support for us. I know it's about interest, but we can definitely support something that is going on in our region. So the base minimum expectation is कि हाँ, अपने कंट्री का कोई टीम है जो रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा है, तो वी शुड बी देयर एंड सपोर्ट. मे बी चलो सपोर्ट, यू डिसअपॉइंटेड तो शो दैट डिसअपॉइंटमेंट कि हाँ यार, यू शुड हैव डन दिस, यू शुड हैव डन दैट, यू नो, तुम लोग ने ये गलत किया, वो गलत किया. वी वुड लव टू हियर यू गाइस, बट फॉर दैट यू नीड टू वॉच एक्टिवली, जैसे बाकी के टूर्नामेंट्स या फिर बाकी की चीजें यू गाइस फॉलो. सो दैट्स माय मैसेज टू यू ऑल.
Batura points out a direct path to how game changers can grow and become just as big by just us watching and supporting our women, same as we do for our men.
So I'll put it right down. So if I was not in the streaming side of things, or in the gaming esports side of things from a team's perspective, and if I was an audience, let me talk in two perspectives. If I am an audience, all that is going in my mind is, if I show them support and they lose, there is nothing that I'm going to gain. But if I show them support and I win, I'm glad, I'm proud that my country is doing it. This is the audience perspective of doing things. From a team's perspective, or from the behind the scenes side of a thing, viewership means money. And only when money flows into an ecosystem are there going to be more brands. Are brands equal to orgs equal to opportunities equal to more fucking medals to our country. It's uprightly there. Start viewing. you guys give viewership, brands will start looking at it saying, hey, we have one more fucking opportunity to promote ourselves. And when brands start pushing in that money, orgs obviously will start pushing in that money because they're not going on a loss. They pretty much get to break even, and there are passionate people who would want to do this all over again. Let's say they're getting into doing that. An organization, let's say you get 3 more teams, 4 more teams, you're pushing in more talent. And when you push in more talent, let's say the cafe I'm in right now, I have 3 girls or 4 girls playing outside. If you go ask them right now, would you want to become a professional player? They would say no, because esports itself is not a very definitive field to be in. And women are even much on the not so greater side of things because their opportunities are even lesser. Your one viewership, your one support would mean that this is the chain reaction. Mancha, if I studied chemistry and all, I would have put one term and said butterfly effect and all, but I don't know that. I'm a commerce student. Nange. So that's the scene. Your viewership means a lot at this point because this is the chain that goes through. Your viewership catches the eyes of more organizers, more organizations, more organizers, more TOs, more brands, which in through starts putting in money, which in forward, because money is something that fuels esports, bro. I mean, there are 2 things which fuel esports. One is passion and the other one is money. And when both of these are together in one place, like a very big thing coming forward in. And I think that one viewer and one viewership, this is all that's going to happen. Please start watching. If you guys, I don't know, if you guys find me entertaining, come watch on my watch parties itself, for instance. And if that's the case and you like it, then throw me away, start watching on the main channel. Legit, start watching on the main channel. Because with my watch parties and everything that I've been doing, I'll be very frank, bro. My channel's been on the down since a really long time. I've not been getting a lot of views, but whenever I do my watch parties for the female Valorant respectively, I get my viewers back. And I feel super happy saying that, let's say female Valorant matlab dimag mein aaya to haan bhai Batura ka naam hai idhar udhar. So I'm glad to be in that position where I hold some responsibility for viewership. I mean, I'm not telling I'm the biggest and all of that. I mean, technically I am the biggest, but I'm glad that I hold that responsibility. And let's say once you guys come watch with me, you guys do gali galos to me, we'll have some fun. Once you guys starting enjoying that Valorant, no, you won't even need a mediator like me. There's Hellranger who does his watch parties as well. RVK used to do the watch parties. Bad Love used to do the watch parties. You guys don't even need all these mediators. You guys will automatically start getting up, start checking VLR, saying, oh shit, 5:30 को orangutan का मैच है, किधर लाइव हो रहा है, उधर ही नीचे ही लिंक आता, वो लिंक लो क्लिक करना, you guys can start watching there. But it's like the curve that we need in. That's the whole point, bro. That's the whole ball game. I mean, I'm not telling that let's start doing this in 6 months. We reach viewership as equivalent as the men's Valorant scene, but one step at a time, right? Come on, matlab. That's all, bro. Too much English attacked.
After talking to all these people from the community, there are a few things that are for certain. Yes, game changers and VCT masters, VCT champions, they're not the same. They're very different levels of competition too. But our women are currently already way ahead in the infant stage of a competition, which with a little bit more support, they can actually push for the Game Changers Championship title, or at least to represent India on the biggest women's Valorant stage. Yes, the competition is much lesser right now, but our women are far ahead in terms of reaching its peak even before it floods in the next few years with more competition. More female gamers will come and more things will happen for the GC community, and hopefully at some point they'll all be in the same league as the men's. But for that, they need our support. One single extra viewer who takes a small part of his or her time to watch and give a little love or even a little bit criticism, as Meow16k said, will incentivize these women to do even better. Maybe that one viewer who will tell another one, and the number keeps increasing, will hopefully push India towards its first ever Valorant International title in Game Changers. Because whether it's the men or the women, there's one name that will stand atop it all that will make us infinitely proud. India. So do it for our countrywomen. Give them a little love. And remember, we're all playing for the same team and we're all playing the same game.